Oh, so good morning. Grace is amazing, isn't it? It is. And grace is one of the powers that moves through the power that I'm going to talk about today. And that's the power of imagination. My title is The Eye of Creation. That's what your imagination is. Your imagination is your eye of creation. Imagination is your power that reaches into the vast pool of unmanifest nothing. And it returns with new concepts, new ideas, and new potentials and possibilities that we never dreamed of before. Things about and for ourselves that were not in our consciousness before we used our imagination to reach out. It's your imagination which can reach beyond your comfort box. We all live in our nice little comfort box, as Madonna used to do. We like to live in that box because it's what we know, it's what we like, it's what we're comfortable with. But we can reach beyond that, beyond our experience, into the possibility of something new, something different, something greater than what we're experiencing right now. By using your imagination, you can be empowered to create a life for yourself that at this time, in this moment, is not possible for you. It's not possible for you because you are who you are right now. It's your imagination which brings to you who you will be. As you work with the ideas that come to you through the power of your imagination, you begin to create your life anew. And we're doing that consistently. We're always creating ourselves, recreating ourselves. As we step into new experiences and new opportunities, we use our imagination to figure out how the heck I'm going to work in this. Because it's new. Never been there before. Have not been there, done that. That's our power of imagination that enables us to be there and do that. Yes, there are things that happen in your life that you have no control over. True also that it's you who creates your response or your reaction to it. It's you who decides what and how you are to be within the situation, within something new in your life. You're making the decision constantly, moment to moment to moment, how you're going to be in this new circumstance. Even with good information to draw from, your experience, your world is going to be based on where you are centered. It's going to be based on where you are centered. It is based on what it is that dominates your discernment process. That's something for you to ask on a continual basis when something comes up for you that makes you go, eek! Where am I based in this process? Am I based in fear? Am I based in love? Am I based in trust? Am I based in, who knows, faith? That's how you move into that. You move into who knows with faith, knowing that sooner or later, when it's your time, you will know. Remember the idea I spoke about a few weeks ago? I spoke about being being a spiritual being in the human experience. Because we hear and speak about that all the time. I am a spiritual being having a human experience. And the key is to be both at once. Because you are a spiritual being having a human experience, but you have to combine the two. You can't just be a spiritual being and you're not having just a human experience. It's all going on at the same time. Your spiritual self knows that in the midst of this relative world, in the world of experience, the truth of your being knows that God's good is unfolding for the highest and best of who you are and who you are to become. The truth of your being knows. The truth of your being is at peace with whatever comes your way. And it's perfectly okay to be concerned. It's perfectly okay to be anxious. Lord knows I go there a lot. I'm guessing one or two of you do also. When you're confronted with difficulties in life, especially unknowns, it's expected that in this human experience, anxiety over the unknown is going to be part of the deal. That's your human experience. And that is where your power of imagination comes in. With your imagination, you choose whether something is going to be light or dark. You choose whether it's going to be good or not good. As I said before, it's a moment-to-moment thing. Moment to moment. It's a constant choosing. And your choices are made through the greater awareness you have in your moment-to-moment existence. The greater awareness, the better the choices, usually. You can make that choice based on the visible and on the invisible. We usually, rule of thumb is we make it on the visible. I have a choice, A, B, or C. And I'm going to choose one of those. That's what we're looking at. But when we're having that in that spiritual experience, we want to also bring in the invisible. Bring in that presence and power, the invisible, all-important wisdom that is inherently yours. Wisdom is one of our other powers. Wisdom which knows the truth of God's good in the midst of all things, which is important when you come to using that imaginary power, your power of imagination, on possibility and fact. Because you could usually imagine many possibilities. And through imagination, very interesting things can happen to facts. Charles Fillmore, in his book Christian Healing, page 100, tells us, when one allows the mind to run in a lawless way, they bring about such discord in mind and body that the flood of error thought submerges the understanding, and they are drowned in it. I'll say that again. When one allows the mind to run on in a lawless way, they bring about such discord in mind and body that the flood of error thought submerges the understanding, and they are drowned in it. If we allow our imagination to run away with a scenario, to create a bunch of hubbub, balderdash, and hoorah, it can overwhelm everything. We get caught up in that rather than working on what it is that is ours to do. We're caught up in the not real of what hasn't happened, but most likely isn't going to happen. And we just run tra la 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 off our path for a while until we realize, what am I doing here? And then you decide to come back. And you use your imagination again to get yourself centered. And you take that breath and you step forward into what it is that is yours to do. Jesus the Christ recognized the importance of imagination in spiritual growth. Matthew 6:22 and 23. He says, the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is healthy, your body will be full of light. But if your eye is unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? He said, eye. The eye of your body. Not your eyes. The eye of your body. The eye of your body. The eye of creation is your imagination. If your imagination is rooted in darkness, is rooted in fear, your life is going to be rooted in darkness and fear. And how great is that? I really feel pity for people who walk around in life in that darkness and fear all the time. And life for them just sucks. We all know people like that. When we know people like that, we want to send them light. That there can be some semblance of light in their life. Send them love. And then let them do with it what they will. We use this imagination, we use this light, especially when looking into the definite unknown. That term came to me while I was doing this talk, the definite unknown. The definite unknown is changes that you know are coming your way, but you don't know the specificities about them. You know something's coming. You know your life is going to change, but you don't know what that's going to mean. You don't know exactly what that is. But it's a coming. So we brace ourselves. Okay, here we go. We look at it, we try to figure out what and how it's going to be, what and how everything's going to happen. And all that usually isn't so. It happens as it happens. It's through our imagination that we can be open and receptive to the guidance we need to get us through that. One step at a time. We can't plan the whole thing out at once. Can't do it. Because we don't know what the next thing is, what the next piece of the puzzle is. It's like, let's say, being on a mail order list for a big old 3x3 foot puzzle. And every day you get one piece of the puzzle. And then every day you get to place that piece of the puzzle. You get to use your discernment and your wisdom and understanding to know where that piece will go, how it fits with the rest of the pieces. So it creates this new picture in and of your life. If we don't do that, the imagination can become quite the thing. It becomes mountain out of molehill time. This is where you use your wisdom and you use your wisdom to guide your imagination. You guide it through the relative to the absolute, from what appears to be to what always is. Holding that always is in mind as you observe and work with what is showing up. When you do that, holding that the idea of our foundation statement, there is only one presence and one power, God the good. When all else fails, when all trying to figure this out, that out, the other thing out, simply go there. One presence and one power, God the good. Rest in that and see what comes up. And you will be taken to the next step. Maybe not the next 5 steps, but at least the next step. So you can go step by step by step through this new thing. It's also important to remember to guide your imagination, not suppress it. Guide your imagination, not suppress it. Suppressing your imagination can lead to some Twilight Zone stuff. Okay, Twilight Zone. When I was a kid, Twilight Zone and the Outer Limits. We just wanted to stay up late and watch that. Twilight Zone and Outer Limits. Twilight Zone. Rod Serling would come on and say, "Imagine if you will." Well, imagine if you will a world where full-grown adult human beings are deathly afraid of a man dressed as a woman, where they are totally fearful of individuals using pronouns of their choice, so afraid that their whole world crumbles into chaos at the thought of a child reading a book or learning about their history, that they pale at the sight of big hair, lots of color, and too much makeup. Yes, folks, we are living a Twilight Zone experience right now. We are in the Twilight Zone. And that's because of suppressed and misdirected imagination. Folks, if this experience that we're living in can be created by the power of imagination, backed by fear in the hands of a few, think of what can be created by the power of imagination, backed by love in the hands of the many. This week, folks, I'd like you to notice how you are using your imagination, your eye of creation, to mold your life experience. Your eye of creation, the movement of spirit moving through you, giving you love, giving you power, faith, and wisdom to do the things that are yours to do and to be the blessing that is yours to be. God blesses you.